All right, so today we are going to be looking into something that's pretty delicious, I think. We're going to be diving into Moroccan Chabakia.
Oh, yeah.
And I was looking at some pictures of this earlier, and
it's gorgeous.
it looks amazing.
Yeah.
It looks like a warm, golden, flower-shaped cookie glistening with honey
Yes.
and sprinkled with sesame seeds.
I mean, what's not to love?
Yeah, it looks really, really good. And it's interesting because this is something that's eaten a lot during Ramadan. And, I think a lot of people listening are probably familiar with Ramadan, but just in case,
Right.
Ramadan is the holy month in Islam where Muslims fast from dawn till dusk.
Yeah.
So I was curious, how does a delicate honey-drenched cookie like Chabakia
Right.
fit into this month?
Yeah. Well, I think that's what makes Chabakia so special.
Okay.
It's traditionally enjoyed after sunset when the fast is broken.
Right.
So you can imagine families and friends gathering,
Yeah.
sharing stories and laughter. And then they finally get to break their fast with these fragrant,
Right.
beautifully crafted cookies.
Yeah.
It really is like a symbol of celebration and gratitude and togetherness.
Yeah, I can imagine that moment of breaking the fast and like having this like just really special, beautiful thing to eat.
Yes, absolutely.
So the process of making Chabakia is supposed to be pretty fascinating.
It is.
And, our sources are describing it as a labor of love, often involving the whole family.
Oh, wow.
You start with the dough.
Okay.
And the dough has all these warm spices in it, like cinnamon and anise and turmeric.
So already it's like a wonderfully aromatic experience just from the dough.
Yeah, and then you've got to shape it into that intricate flower form.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
So they're rolled out, they're cut into strips, and then they're meticulously folded and pinched into these delicate floral forms.
It's a technique that's been passed down through generations.
Really?
Yeah, and some families even have their own unique style.
Wow. So it's even more special than I thought,
Yeah.
because it's like there's this history and heritage woven into each one.
Definitely.
That's awesome.
So yeah, the flower shape itself,
Yeah.
what does it represent?
I don't know. You tell me.
Well, in Moroccan culture, flowers are often associated with beauty and prosperity and good fortune.
Oh, okay.
So you could see the Chabakia as like a way of invoking these blessings,
Uh-huh.
especially during Ramadan,
Right.
a time of spiritual reflection and renewal.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it kind of adds another layer
Yeah.
to something that's already pretty special.
Okay, so then we get to the frying process.
Yes, this is where the magic happens.
And our sources, Cooking with Aliyah, on YouTube,
Yes.
you can almost hear that sizzle
Oh, yeah.
when the cookies hit the hot oil.
It's so important, that frying process, not only for the crunch, but for the flavor.
Right, so it allows all the flavors of the spices to really come out.
Exactly.
So then what happens after? They're nice and golden brown.
Well, then they get a nice luxurious bath in honey syrup. And often it's infused with orange blossom or rose water.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
It's divine.
So you've got that sweetness of the honey, and then you've got like the delicate floral notes.
It's a symphony of flavors and aromas.
And then they sprinkle sesame seeds on top.
Yes, for a nutty crunch and that final touch of elegance.
So you were saying that making Chabakia is often a family affair.
Oh, yeah.
What role does that shared experience play in the overall significance of the cookie?
Well, imagine generations of a family gathering in the kitchen,
Wow.
working side by side,
Yeah.
and everyone's contributing to the creation of these little works of art.
Yeah, it's not just baking then, right?
Yeah.
It's like a bonding experience.
Exactly.
Passing down traditions and connecting with your heritage.
You got it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's amazing. I mean, I can just picture it like the grandmothers are sharing their secret techniques, and the kids are learning from the elders, and everyone's laughing and telling stories while they work.
Exactly. And it's so interesting how something as simple as making Chabakia can really tie into those deeper themes of Ramadan,
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, think about it. The whole process requires patience and precision and dedication.
So-
It's almost meditative in a way, just like the spiritual reflection that's encouraged during Ramadan.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then, of course, there's the act of sharing the finished product with loved ones, which becomes an expression of generosity and gratitude.
Yeah.
And it really strengthens those family and community bonds.
So it's not just about the cookie itself.
Yeah.
It's like the whole process.
Yeah.
And the intention behind it.
Definitely.
One of our sources mentioned something kind of cool about the history
Oh.
of Chabakia.
Okay.
Apparently, that intricate folding technique that's used to create the flower shape
Right.
actually originated centuries ago. Back then, sugar was a luxury.
Oh.
So the folds were a way to maximize the surface area of the dough
Okay.
so that it could absorb more honey.
So it started as a practical solution.
Yeah.
And evolved into this artistic tradition.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that while Chabakia is deeply rooted in Moroccan culture, it's also enjoyed in other parts of North Africa and the Middle East.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's a tradition that transcends borders then?
It really does, and it speaks to the interconnectedness of cultures,
Yeah.
especially within a shared faith like Islam.
Right.
You know, there might be some people listening who who aren't that familiar with Ramadan.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember that it's not just about abstaining from food and drink. It's a time for spiritual growth and self-improvement and focusing on acts of kindness and charity.
And Chabakia, with its focus on shared experience and generosity, seems to embody those values.
Exactly.
Perfect.
You know, as we've been talking about this, it really struck me that there are some parallels between the craftsmanship of Chabakia and the dedication that's required for spiritual growth.
Interesting comparison. How so?
Well, they both require patience,
Right.
discipline, and a willingness to refine and perfect your approach. You know, just as each fold in the Chabakia dough contributes to its final beauty,
Right.
each act of self-reflection or prayer or kindness contributes to a more fulfilling spiritual journey.
That's a cool way to look at it.
Yeah.
Another one of our sources highlighted a tradition that illustrates the community aspect of Ramadan.
Oh, yeah.
It's called iftar.
Yes, iftar is the meal that's eaten after sunset to break the fast.
Okay.
And during Ramadan, many Muslims host or attend community iftars where people from all walks of life come together to share a meal and break their fast together.
I can imagine that sense of unity, and shared experience at those gatherings.
It is truly special.
And Chabakia plays a starring role in those feasts.
It does,
Right.
often.
Adding sweetness and joy to the occasion.
And, it makes you think about the power of food to transcend those cultural and societal barriers.
Oh, for sure.
No matter your background or your beliefs,
Right.
sharing a meal can really create a sense of common ground.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking about my own family's food traditions as you were talking about that.
Oh, yeah.
My grandmother used to make this incredible apple pie every Thanksgiving.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't just about the taste, it was about the anticipation.
Yeah.
The aroma filling the house.
Yeah.
And the joy of sharing it with loved ones.
That's beautiful.
It became a symbol of family and togetherness.
Yeah.
And those food traditions are about so much more
Definitely.
than just sustenance. Right?
Absolutely. They connect us to our heritage, and our loved ones, and even to ourselves.
Like each bite tells a story, evokes a memory. It strengthens those invisible threads that bind us together.
It makes you wonder how our lives would be different without those shared culinary experiences.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think we'd be missing out on a vital part of what makes us human.
Yeah.
That need to connect and share
Yeah.
and celebrate life's simple pleasures together.
Couldn't agree more. And speaking of simple pleasures, I'm suddenly craving some Chabakia.
Me too.
All this talk about it.
Yeah.
It sounds amazing.
So for our listeners who are now as intrigued by Chabakia as we are,
Yes.
what's the best way for them to experience it?
Well, if you're feeling adventurous, you could try making it yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Cooking with Aaliyah on YouTube offers a really fantastic step-by-step guide.
Okay.
Or if you prefer to leave the baking to the experts,
Yeah.
I'm sure there are plenty of Moroccan restaurants or bakeries that would be happy to introduce you to this delicious treat.
If our listeners don't have a chance to try Chabakia right away, I still encourage everyone to keep an open mind and an open heart when it comes to exploring different cultures through their food.
I love that.
Food can be a really powerful bridge between people.
It can.
And it fosters understanding and appreciation.
Absolutely.
Let me leave you with a thought-provoking question.
Okay.
As you savor your next meal, whether it's a familiar favorite or something new,
Right.
take a moment to consider its history.
Yeah.
Its cultural significance, and the hands that brought it to your table.
I love that.
You might be surprised by the stories it has to tell.
That's beautiful.
It's a reminder that food is so much more than just sustenance. It's a tapestry woven with tradition, connection, and the very essence of human experience.
I love that.
So, we've been talking a lot about Chabakia and how important it is during Ramadan. But I was thinking, There are a lot of different ways that people around the world celebrate Ramadan.
Oh, yeah. Tons of different traditions.
But, one thing that seems to be pretty common is this emphasis on community and spirituality.
Right.
And, of course, like amazing food.
Of course.
Whether it's breaking the fast with dates and milk or having these huge feasts after sunset.
Right.
Food just seems to be so central.
It is.
To bringing people together.
It's about nourishing the soul. You know, it's more than just food for the body.
It's like that act of sharing food, especially when you're also reflecting spiritually,
right,
creates this really deep connection.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of brings us back to what we were saying about Chabakia being a symbol of joy and togetherness.
Yeah.
It's more than just a cookie.
It really is.
It's like it embodies the spirit of Ramadan.
Exactly. And that spirit goes beyond any kind of cultural or religious boundaries.
Right.
Even if you don't observe Ramadan, you can still appreciate those values of generosity and compassion and empathy.
Yeah, and I can't think of a better way to experience those values than through sharing some delicious food.
Especially something as meaningful as Chabakia.
One of our sources actually had a really great quote about Chabakia.
What was it?
They said that sharing Chabakia is an act of blessing.
Wow.
It's like that small gesture of offering someone a piece of this cookie has this much deeper meaning.
It's a way of showing kindness and creating connections.
This has been such a great deep dive.
It has.
I've learned so much about Chabakia and about Ramadan.
Me too. It's always so fun to explore food and culture.
Yeah.
To our listeners out there. I hope this has been a really enriching experience for you.
Yeah. Maybe it's inspired some of you to try Chabakia for the first time.
Yeah.
Or maybe you just have a new appreciation for this really special Moroccan treat.
Or maybe you want to learn about some other culinary traditions from around the world.
Food is such a universal language.
It really is.
It connects us all.
Until next time, happy exploring, everyone.
And happy eating.